Alright, everybody. So, yesterday, Nintendo did their latest Direct, a partner showcase, and an indie world. And what I wanted to talk about today is, does anybody remember at the start of the year when we didn't really know what games were coming out for the Switch this year? Some people thought the Switch 2 could come out this year. And there was just this idea that Nintendo was going to be phoning in 2024. If the Switch was coming out in 2025, it's like, okay, well, this year is going to be just scraps, like hard pickings for Switch owners. But I think these latest two Directs have shown, no, the Switch has a shot to still dominate into 2025. So even just starting off with what we have left for 2024, when you think about it, just going off of the last Direct, we had Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, we had Mario and Luigi Brothership, and we had Mario Party Jamboree. So just those three games alone, you're already looking at three, holiday-ish titles. Then you couple together this indie showcase and this partner showcase, and some of this stuff was timed exclusives, but we have so much stuff to play. I think if you're an RPG fan or a fighting game fan, then 2024 into 2025 is going to be a sweet time. I mean, Capcom has now announced 2 collection of fighters. I mean, we're getting Power Stone on the Switch. That's pretty cool. I mean, that game is nefarious, infamous on Dreamcast in the retro collecting scene, and now we're going to have a way to play it on the Switch, which is really sweet. Dude, so many RPGs got announced. I'm not even an RPG guy, but I was looking at it like, oh my gosh, the Tales of Grace F coming to the Switch, the Legend of Heroes 1 coming to the Switch, at least the Trials in the Sky. Not a franchise I know a lot about, but now that the first one is out on Switch, it might motivate me to play that franchise. You got Rune Factory. I mean, so many RPGs, Suikoden 1 and 2. If you're an RPG fan, I mean, how are you not ecstatic? And last Direct officially revealed the Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3 remakes. I mean, I feel like it's a great time to be an old school RPG fan. So many remakes and so many new ones coming to the Switch that, like I said, I don't even care for the genre of fighting or RPGs, but how can you not get excited for those fans? I'm more of a 3D platformer fan, and honestly, there wasn't a whole lot in the way of that revealed. I mean, we know Donkey Kong Country 2 is coming out next year, which is, I guess, cool. I wanted a new Donkey Kong Country game or a Donkey Kong 3D game, but, we'll settle, I guess, for Return. So I will say that's the only disappointing part, is that there's really not a lot of 3D platformers. We get the Patrick Star game, which is cool, but, I don't think that'll be the pinnacle of 3D platforming. So there's that, but there were a good bit of adventure games, even in the indie showcase. The Moth game looked really cool for an indie game. Let me see, did I write down names for these? Some of these indie games which looked pretty cool. We had Star Overdrive. That one looked pretty sweet. There was a couple of other kind of adventure games. There was one in particular that it showed off for like half a second. Europa or something like that. I mean, it literally showed it for like 3 seconds and moved on. I was like, some of the games they revealed I would have liked to have seen more. But so that's just what we've seen from these last 2 Directs that give me a lot of hope that the Switch will still dominate into 2025. It's what I said going into this Direct. Sony had done their State of Play, Microsoft had done theirs, and we were waiting on the Switch to do theirs. And I said, guys, all it takes is like 1 or 2 games, and the Switch will have the best year of any of these consoles. They'll have the best holiday season, so on and so forth. Now, it really depends on what actually comes out in 2025. I see some people saying Fable could come out in 2025. If that does, obviously, that's a big one for Microsoft. Grand Theft Auto 6, I don't know. I don't know if I believe that game's coming out next year. I saw some article saying that it was tentatively 2025. I don't know if I believe that. And those are two games that Nintendo would not get access to. At least I don't think they will. So I could see that hurting them. But I really don't think there's going to be like an Elden Ring next year. Something that comes out that's not available on Switch that is just going to take the world by storm. You know, the Switch missed out on Baldur's Gate and it missed out on Elden Ring. And those are two really big games to miss out on. Of course, they released Tears of the Kingdom, and that was kind of like an equalizer, if you will. But when I just look at Nintendo's offerings versus the other companies' offerings, I think Nintendo will dominate 2025. And there's a couple of other things, like Level 5's Revival. If you're like me, you love old school Level 5. You got Fantasy Life, you got Dark Cloud, you got Rogue Galaxy, you got Yokai Watch, right? I mean, if they bring Yokai Watch 4 over, my gosh, that would be exciting. But we know the games that they even have cooking right now. A new Fantasy Life, the Deca Police game, Professor Layton in the New World of Steam. Level 5 has got some real games cooking, and there's this theory that they are delaying their games to release with the Switch 2. So we'll see about that. Will we get these Level 5 games next year? Will we get the Switch successor next year? I just think Level 5 is going to be part of what helps Nintendo dominate into next year. On top of that, there's Metroid Prime 4. That's going to be the talk of next year, I'm sure. And what's going to be really interesting is when the Switch 2 comes out. How many simultaneous releases are we going to get? How many games coming out on Switch 2, or the Switch successor, are also going to come out on Switch 1? Because my theory is that Metroid Prime 4 will be a simultaneous release. But, you could also think that all of these Level 5 games are going to be simultaneous releases. Deca Police, Fantasy Life, all those games are going to come out the same time the Switch successor comes out. And a lot of people are going to keep their Switch. So I think the Switch will do well even if the Switch 2 comes out because of those simultaneous releases. And then, so that's the games that Nintendo has announced so far. And then we have the Level 5 Revival. Not to mention all these RPGs, these fighting games that are coming out. I just see a lot in the chamber from Nintendo. And then there's the first-party games that they haven't announced. Now, I'm not sure what else Nintendo first-party could throw at us if the Switch successor is coming out in 2025. I don't think we'll get a new 3D Mario game. I don't think we'll get a new 3D Zelda game until we get that Switch successor. But if that Switch successor comes out next year and we get these simultaneous releases, you could see Super Mario Odyssey 2, or whatever they call it. You could see your Zelda, let's just call it Breath of the Wild 3, for lack of a better term. I think it's way too early, but you could get some kind of Zelda filler. And in the meantime, how many other remakes and remasters are we going to get? I think that'll be a big deal too, and I think Nintendo fans are fine with the remakes and remasters. I know remakes and remasters are always a point of contention because it's like, make new games, but Nintendo is making new games. We've already talked about all the new games they have coming out, right? So I don't think people wouldn't mind remakes. I think remakes are a hot topic right now. People want the Kirby DS games on the Switch. People want Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD combo on the Switch. People want all these potential remakes and remasters. And honestly, why wouldn't you do it if you're Nintendo, right? I think it's fairly easy to take Wind Waker, slap it onto the Switch. Maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe I'm wrong. But I think the remakes and remasters really give Nintendo the ability to stretch the Switch's lifespan out, even if we get the Switch successor announced sometime soon. I think the Switch could still be relevant and still be dominating well into 2025, if not 2026. So, guys, let me know how you're feeling after these latest 2 directs. Will Nintendo dominate 2025? I just don't see anything Sony or Microsoft related that's going to steal Nintendo's thunder at this point. I know a lot of these games, or some of these games, are timed exclusive, so Microsoft, Xbox, PC will probably get a lot of these games too. But I just have a feeling that, I guess here's what I'll leave you guys with. Nintendo has shown they are fully ready to surprise us. Nobody was expecting a Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake when we got it. No one was expecting Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and I think a lot of people had given up hope on Metroid Prime 4 being revealed this, dare I say, early. So, whenever we get the next Direct, the next mainline Nintendo Direct, who's to say they don't drop the gauntlets and show something crazy off? I don't really know what else they could do. They already revealed a new Mario Party, a new Zelda, and a new Metroid. I think and I've done all this without talking about Pokemon ZA, which I think will sell like gangbusters as well. So I think Pokemon, the next generation of Pokemon or a 3D Mario game, probably unrealistic till we get the next Switch. But both of those, who's to say Nintendo doesn't surprise us and say, here you go, here's the next 3D Mario game. I don't think they do it, but I'm just saying, no one has expected some of the things they've done over the last year and a half to last year. So I'm not doubting that they could do something crazy like, hear me out, a 3D remake of Earthbound. That would be insane, right? So they still have little things in their back pocket that they could do, which I think would help break the internet. But this is where I turn it over to you guys. The last mainline Switch Direct was like an A+. The Indie World Partner Showcase, I think, was around a B. Indie showcases, you're either an indie fan or you're not, right? So, but the partner showcases, I just think if you're an RPG fan or a fighting fan, you love that Direct, right? I would like to see a little more 3D platformers, just me personally. So if they announce a couple more of those, I'm going to be ecstatic. But I think you take the A+ Direct from the last mainline Nintendo Direct, combine this with like a B- Direct yesterday, and you got the recipe for Nintendo to have a dominant 2025. So let me know, guys. You got the level 5, you got Donkey Kong, you got Metroid Prime 4, you got all these RPGs, you got the new Pokemon game. Do you think Nintendo will dominate into 2025? You got the potential release of the Switch successor. I just think that 2025 is looking like a great year for Switch owners. So let me know down below what you guys think of these last 2 showcases and what the future holds for Nintendo. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.